Live from Dallas-Fort Worth, this is WFAA News.
Well, North Texas roads looking just a little better this midday as we finally get and stay above freezing for a bit. The best advice, though, go slow, be careful. Here is something we have not been able to say in a few days. No longer under a winter storm warning. All the warnings have expired, Mariel was telling me before we came on the air. Hi, I'm Kara Sewell with our meteorologist, Mariel Ruiz. Okay, so when did those expire?
They expired at 9.
All right.
And they were not extended, so we're no longer under a warning. So good to say that.
You all have been very busy, and this is such a relief.
Absolutely. I mean, we're starting to see a little more rain on radar versus the freezing rain. But with saying that, of course, our roads are wet, and wet roads are always an issue, right? I do want to show you, though, what it looks like from our Fort Worth camera. 31 degrees, so not officially above freezing there. And this is a camera that's elevated, so even colder, and it still frozen. Wind chill of 26. It's still cold out there, and it's still wet out there. Right now, 32 degrees officially at DFW Airport. We're waiting on that 33, which will happen here in a couple of hours. I'm thinking maybe even before noon. Winds are out of the north and west at about 5-10 miles per hour. It feels like 24 at DFW Airport, but look at this. It's cloudy, it's cold, and it's going to stay wet a majority of the day. That's exactly what we're seeing on our radar. That pink that you see there, it's still some freezing drizzle according to radar, but once it hits the ground, depending on where it's hitting, we could see it either melt or we could see it freeze on contact. Again, it kind of just depends on what it's landing at this point. But those roads, yes, they still look a bit on the wet side. We're looking at a mix of that cold rain starting to really mix in along eastern Dallas County, Rockwall County as well. Portions of eastern Collin County also seeing a little bit of that freezing drizzle. But like I said, it kind of depends on where it's falling. If it happens, well, you see that little update right there? Now it looks like cold rain across most of eastern Dallas. So again, we're starting to see that mix coming back. We're starting to see more of a cold rain transition across a big portion of our eastern counties, from Sulphur Springs down to Athens, looking at just some cold rain, but still a batch of some freezing rain well to the west of here. Bowie towards Mineral Wells, towards Abilene, seeing a bit more of that activity, but most of us just experiencing that cold rain. Look at this as it moves in time here. You can see that pink disappearing and more of the greens popping up, showing us just that. So the remainder of the day, our temperatures are going to hover right above that freezing point. So most of us will see that transition to just a cold rain, but it stays just that, a cold rain. So if you want to go out, I mean, just be careful. Like I said, our roads are still wet, and because it does freeze again tonight, some areas will see some patchy, slick spots. But this weekend, sunny, dry, warmer. We'll talk about that coming up in just a bit, but I do want to get you an update on our roadways. Stacia has been with us all week, keeping an eye on those roads. So with us, how is it looking? Those look wet, those roads.
Very wet, yeah. That's the best way to describe things right now. It's just really wet outside as a lot of that ice melts, but then you still have areas where you have patchy ice, especially under major overpasses where things are cooler on the ground. So that is not melting as quickly. This is an area where we're receiving reports of high water right around State Highway 114 and Spur 482. So this is pretty close to 114, 183, that area. And look at this. As I mentioned before, you still have some ice out there. So one of the main things you want to do if you do have to head out of the house today is just still be careful. Don't assume that, oh, everything's just fine, because this is a prime example that it's not. So as we just look at the rest of your roadways, that major accident we had at I-30 at Hampton that finally cleared out, and checking out your map, you still have some precip, especially areas east of Dallas, right around the Garland Mesquite area. And I can go ahead and show you that area of high water, pretty close to Irving that we were just seeing. So again, you have high water, 183, 114, Loop 12, that triangle right there. It's also a major construction area, so that's obviously not helping the situation. If you are heading toward I-30 eastbound from downtown Dallas, or 80, or even I-20, you're going to run into some rain still. So prepare for that if that's the area that you're heading. And then also, I want to let you know, this just came from DART. They are experiencing major delays even this morning and this afternoon. So please allow extra time if you do plan to take the DART rail. And if you use the rail, you maybe want to go ahead and seek alternate transportation.